Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Today's story includes negligent parents, toxic family, relationship problems, wedding drama and favoritism between siblings. Let's start. Am I the idiot for telling my fiancée there will be no wedding if she keeps insisting I invite my parents? From Objective National 517. So, some backstory: my dad left the family and went no contact when I, 35 male, was 4. My mom remarried and had 2 kids with my stepdad. My stepdad never treated me poorly, but always made clear that he was Dale, fake name, to me. He was not my dad. My mom never tried to fix the relationship, and honestly loved her new family and always saw me as a burden. That's what I thought, at least, until it was confirmed after my freshman year of college, when my mom asked me not to come home anymore. Wow. I blocked her after that phone call and have had no contact with her or my stepdad and half-brother. Since then, I do still speak to my half-sister, 25, female, at her insistence, but that's my only contact. It took me a long time to deal with basically being kicked out of my family. I grew to be pretty independent and thought I'd live alone, until I met my fiancée, 28, female, 4 years ago. We have had a great relationship and her family opened up and invited me in with open arms. She comes from a pretty typical suburban family and they are great. Over the years, I've told her about my issues with my family. She has met my sister and she never pushed for more, until we started planning the wedding. When we started talking about who we would invite, I talked about friends from college and coworkers, and she kept saying I should invite my parents. At first, I thought she was just trying to gauge if I wanted to. I said I would not be inviting my parents. She said okay, but then brought it up again the next day. I calmly explained how much they hurt me, how growing up feeling you were unwanted, and then having it confirmed at 19, really stunted my mental health. That over the years, I have realized it's their problem, and if they ever want to solve it, then they can initiate, but I am in contact with my sister and it is clear they are happy insisting I don't exist. It sucks, but it's their problem that they have thrust onto me. I can't be the one to solve it. I thought it had ended, but she has brought it up 2 more times. The last one was last night. We were about to start the save the dates, and she said, "Are you sure you don't want to invite you parents? I feel like I might just invite them on my side." And I snapped. I told her we should probably just throw the invitations away, because if you can't respect what I've been through, then I don't want to marry you. I then went to our bedroom and fumed for a while. She came in to try to talk to me and I walked out, grabbed my keys and left. I came back around 11 p.m. after hanging with friends and slept on the couch. She left for work without a word to me and I don't know where we stand. Her behavior is unacceptable, but I feel I may have gone too far. What do you all think? Am I the idiot? Zesty Clothes Sky 1921 says, "She's already in contact with your parents. This particular kind of obliviousness doesn't start with asking permission, but rather begging forgiveness." And OP replied, "I don't think so. I go to dinner or talk with my sister every Thursday night, and she would hint if my mom and Dale wanted to reconcile. They don't. They honestly are happier pretending I don't exist." Wow, all your parents suck. And your fiancé sucks, for not respecting your decision to not have the people who have done you so much wrong, in one of the most important moments of your life. After everything you've told her, why does she think you'd want them there? Especially as the, quote, groom's family, they don't deserve it. Or even as just guests, they don't deserve to be there and you don't deserve to have that moment ruined with their presence there. Your biological father sucks for obvious reasons, and your mother disgusts me for choosing your stepfather, and for throw you out from the family. Honestly, I don't know how they can stay married to each other. I couldn't stay with someone who abandoned their child, or with someone who would ask me to do that with my. Not only because it's absurd and disgusting, but who can assure me they wouldn't do the same thing to me and our children in the future? I will never be able to understand people who choose their partner over their children, never. And although I think your bride's insistence is ridiculous, to say the least, maybe she is under some pressure from her family, so that the guests don't think it's weird that the groom's family isn't present. Or maybe she thinks that if you don't fix the relationship with your parents now, you might do something like this with her and your kids in the future. Or maybe your sister has given her hints that your parents want to go to the wedding or reconcile, but feels that you are not open to it. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, trying to figure it out why she is acting like this, but either way, that doesn't excuse her behavior on trying to force your parents to be there, when you've clearly already said no. And if it's the case that your parents want to be part of your life again, as you said, they should talk to you directly and resolve things, but your wedding is not the time or place to do that. Not the idiot OP. And what do you guys think about this situation? What advice would you give OP on how to deal with this? Or do you think OP's fiancé is right to insist on his parents being present at the wedding? Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and now let's go to the first update. Update. I'm very overwhelmed by the response, so many thoughtful responses. Thank you to everyone who took the time to respond. I thought I would give an update. My fiancé normally gets home around 5:30 p.m., so after I was done working, I work from home, I waited for her to show up. Got very worried when it was 6 and she still wasn't home, but around 6:15 she shows up with my sister, which was a big surprise. While my sister and I connect every Thursday, we live 45 minutes away from each other, so her popping by is not normal. Both of them looked very anxious, so I was very confused. I asked them what was going on and my sister just bursts into tears and saying she's sorry. After like 5 minutes of her losing her mind, she starts talking about the family. So, apparently when she told my mom and Dale that I got engaged, it started a rift between them, not because they cared about me, but about how my half-brother, which is 27, is still living at home, single, with no steady job. If you're thinking, wow, they kicked you out at 19, but let him stay there past when he could rent a car, don't worry, I said it out loud. My mom apparently wants to do the same to my half-brother, but Dale won't let her, so they are currently separated, with my mom living with family and refusing to come back until my half-brother is out of the house. For some reason, that defies all logic and reason. My sister thinks getting an invite to my wedding will bring the family together, since it was my engagement that caused the rift. At this, I blew up a bit. I told her that my engagement had nothing to do with it, that their shitty parenting and poor relationship skills caused it, and don't put that shit on me. She cried even harder, and this time I was not going to console her. My fiancé is just sitting there the whole time, so while my sister is trying to get herself together, I question my fiancé about this. She also tears up a bit, but tells me my sister was telling her about how I always bring up the family on our Thursday and that deep down I wanted to repair the relationship. I asked how she could believe that when I was very clear that I was no contact with my family, and had never mentioned wanting to be in contact. I told her that I tell her everything and would never hold back something like this without talking to her. She's always been my sounding board. When I switched jobs last year, we talked about it every night and her advice mattered more than anyone else. She apologized and then wanted to show me her phone, specifically the messages between her and my sister. At this point my sister perks up and asks her not to show the phone conversation, but my fiancé tells her she's trying to save her relationship. My sister has just been straight up lying about our Thursday conversations, saying how I was always talking about reconciling, how I would never admit it but I'm partially at fault too, how I really want to see them all again. Every time I would tell my fiancé no, she would text my sister and my sister would talk about how I just couldn't be open because I was embarrassed. Just completely false. I would be perfectly happy never seeing any of them again. I can't believe my sister still sees them. At this, I tell my half-sister to leave and that Thursdays are cancelled. My sister puts up a little bit of a fight, but I ignore her until she leaves. She keeps saying sorry over and over again, but honestly I'm done with her. I've blocked her and will be no contact with her for the time being. This is a complete betrayal of my feelings and relationships. As for my fiancé and I am still very upset. She went behind my back with my sister, never asked me about it, let my sister manipulate her and honestly hurt me. I told her I love her, but my trust is broken. We've agreed to go to couples therapy and see if we can repair the relationship. I hope we can, but I'd say it's a toss-up for me. She's got a lot of work to do. In what world would inviting your mother and stepfather to your wedding make them reconcile, especially when you're not even the reason for the fight in the first place? What the hell? I think that more than you and your fiancé, your half-sister is the one who needs therapy, urgent. I think she wants to have her, quote, perfect family back, and was using your fiancé to do that. but unfortunately, her family was never perfect. Your sister wants to have back a family that never existed. Also, it's possible that if you invited them, neither of them would go, and I'm not going lie, I was hoping that the reason for their fight was OP, and the wedding, and how the mother regretted not being part of her son's life, or at least, it was because she was afraid of what people would think of them not being invited to their son's wedding. I was really hoping, but nah, these people really suck. Also, I don't know what your brother is like or his relationship with your parents, and whether his unemployment is by choice or not, but the fact that your mother is so determined to throw her son out of the house, without having anywhere to go, makes me think she didn't have a problem with you, but actually with being a mother. Relevant comment. Your fiancée was lied to and manipulated just as much as you. Don't hold this against her if you don't want to be the a-hole. Now is the time to come together with her, as she has seen how they are. Tell her you love her and forgive her, and never believe anything, unless it's out of your mouth again, but that's up to you if you want to throw away the love of a good woman. This is why we are doing couples counseling, not individual counseling. I don't think I'm blameless here. And what do you guys think of this update? What do you think of OP's sister's actions? Would you try something similar to reconcile your parents? Well, let's go to the last update. Oh, and I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. Now let's go to the update and see what happened. Update 2. A lot has happened. I'm just going to try and spill it in order for you all. So after my sister left, I told my fiancée I loved her, but I didn't trust her currently, but I felt she took my sister's side instead of mine. So I continued to sleep on the couch for a couple of nights. She was walking on eggshells around me and I hated it, but I also just wasn't ready to forgive her. Then Friday night after I hung out with friends, I came home and crashed on the couch. We had an innocuous conversation, but she did ask me to come to bed and I told her I just wasn't ready. I woke up to pee at like 3 a.m. and she was sleeping on the floor next to me. I don't know why exactly, but it touched me deeply and I cried a little bit. It meant so much to know that she wanted to be near me, even when I was being unloving. It really turned the tide. I woke up a few hours later and she was making me breakfast. A surprise, as Saturday is usually my big breakfast making day. We sat down to eat and she was keeping the conversation light, still on eggshells, but I decided to tell her a story from my childhood. I told her how Dale used to make breakfast for the family, but never included me. I was older, so I slept in, and when I got up, there was rarely any breakfast left, and if there was, it was in the fridge and no one would eat with me. I told her how much Saturday brunch with us meant to me, and how I hadn't really ever talked about it and that wasn't fair to her. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. She apologized again, but I told her I didn't need it, that I forgave her, and while I still want to do couples therapy because I think it'll help me express my family issues with her in a healthy way, I'm ready to send out the save the dates. I then asked her to massage my back, because the couch was a nightmare to sleep on, and she knew I was serious. I don't love people touching me, except my fiancé, and I had really not allowed it since the original incident. I know most of you did not want me to forgive my fiancé, but I love her, and she loves me. She made a huge mistake, but she's never experienced anything like what I went through, and she showed remorse. As for my sister, my mom reached out via a phone number that I didn't recognize, and told me I should forgive my sister. I told her to screw off and she just confirmed my sister really never had a relationship with me at all, because if she knew me, she would know that contact with my mom would only make the situation worse. I then blocked the number. This happened Thursday evening. She tried to come by Sunday, but my fiancé and I were out. She left a note apologizing and saying she did not ask mom to contact me and she's sorry she did that. My fiancé wants nothing to do with my sister anymore, but left the decision up to me. I told her that she was my family, so if she didn't want her there, she wouldn't be there. A little jab for sure, but she took it well and said she didn't want her there. We have been getting back to normal. It will still take time and I think I may try individual therapy, because as I was thinking about all the incidents, I'm not so sure the family situation is worse than even I have acknowledged, and it might be time to really deal with it. The save the dates were sent out yesterday and everything is still on. I'm not sure I'll update again, but thank you all for letting me process and vent. OP replied to a few comments and gave us more info. I'm curious to know if you sent a save the date to your sister. I apologize if it was addressed and I missed it. We did not, we just crossed her off the list. My side of the aisle is going to be a little emptier than my fiancé's, lol. But that's okay, she's the family I want. My fiancé had broken a clear boundary and we communicated and made up. We discussed the issues, are still going to couples therapy and are in a good place. I don't understand if eating breakfast on Saturday as a child was so important. Why didn't you just get up early and eat with the family? It's clear many of you have had terrific relationships with your parents and or step-parents, and never had to deal with a Dale who would roll his eyes, look annoyed, and look at his other siblings and say something like, "Looks like he's ruined daddy-kid time." I'm happy you didn't have to deal with it, but I'm tired of having to explain and reopen painful memories for your public entertainment, when I was coming here for advice and to vent, not to entertain. This was an update as a thank you, kind of wish I hadn't done it, definitely won't update again. There's a post saying you had the wedding and you fiancé still invited your family, and that your mother and sister showed up. Any truth to that, or did they just finish the story how they wanted to? Nope, wedding isn't until April. People just being a-holes. Well, I'm glad OP is going to therapy. I think it will be really good to him, and to the future of his relationship. And good luck with the wedding, OP. And what did you guys think of this update? Do you think OP forgave his fiancée too quickly? Do you think he is right to cut ties with his sister? Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.